Untold story of Telangana. Politicians may lie, but not the statistics. Glorious history. Telugu people are distinguished with glorious history, inimitable culture, great heritage and common destiny. Telugu people waged valiant battles for centuries together to preserve their unique identity. With 3,000 years of glorious history, Telugu people transformed themselves into a political, social and cultural entity. Andhras had an empire 2,000 years ago. The Shatavahana Empire found mention in Aitreya Brahmana. They ruled from Kotilingala in present-day Karimnagar, as well as Amaravati in the present-day Guntur. The Greek traveller, chronicler Megasthenes described the power and glory of Andhras. Indian national calendar began to mark the Telugu rulers' triumph. Telugu rulers were the first to issue coins in India. They had the figures of kings on them, as well as traditional symbols. Not only military might, Telugus excelled in commerce, art and navigation, extended their influence up to Southeast Asia. Fall of Shatavahanas led to disintegration of Telugu Empire, emergence of small kingdoms, internecine fight among Telugu kings, rise of the Kakatiyas as Andhra Deshadhishwaras, with capital at Orugal, present-day Warangal, consolidation of Telugu power by Kakatiyas, Telugu Empire from Kanchi in south to Devagiri in north and Raichur in west. Golden age for Telugus during Kakatiyas. Standards of governance with justice and equity. Rani Rudrama revered as a goddess. Literature, fine arts, architecture. Kohinoor diamond belonged to Kakatiya Empire. Marco Polo records. Vijayanagar Empire rose from the ashes of Kakatiya Empire. Harihara and Bukka went from Orugallu. Vijayanagara Empire protected all other South Indian kingdoms from outside aggression. Tughlaq was sacked by Telugus. Fierce battles between Vijayanagara kingdom and the Bahmanis. Krishna Nayak's capitulation to Bahmanis gave away Golconda. Emergence of Krishna Devaraya, one of the greatest emperors of modern history. Military might as well as literary prowess. Flourishing of arts and letters. Fall of Vijayanagara, humiliation of Telugus, disintegration of Telugus, scattering over different territories. Nizams began the process of scattering Telugus across areas ruled by different political powers. Sale and ceding of Telugu territories by the Nizams. Telugu people were ill-treated and language was suppressed by Nizam. Education denied to Telugu people in mother tongue. High taxation, vetti, or slavery in Nizam. Telugus revolt against Nizam's atrocities. Formation of Young Men's Literary Association. Drawing the map of Andhra Desha areas consisting of British India and Nizam. Formation of Andhra Janasangham in Nizam. Activities of Andhra Mahasabha in coastal area. Nizam cracks down on Andhra Mahasabha. Suspects its motive as uniting all Telugu areas. Nizam's warning to Mada Party. 1930, Suravaram Pratap Reddy led Andhra Mahasabha. Revolt of Telugus against Nizam. Help from Telugus of outside Nizam state. Struggle against Nizam and British went hand in hand with Telugu identity. Dhar Committee of 1948. Pattabhi Debhar Nehru Committee. Endorsement of Andhra province by Nehru but without Madras. Swami Sitaram's fast. Potti Sri Ramulu's fast unto death. Announcement of Andhra state. Denial of Madras as temporary capital. Proposal of Ballari as capital. Ayyadevara Kaleshwara Rao and formation of Vishalandhra Mahasabha. Communist Party's demand for Vishalandhra. In Hyderabad State Assembly favoured Vishalandhra Gentleman's Agreement. Emergence of Vishalandhra. Telangana Praja Samiti TPS formation. Was there real violation of Gentleman's Agreement on government employment? What about revenues from Nizam Andhra? Merger of TPS with Congress. Courts and the Mulki rules. Supreme Court orders on Mulki rules. Separate Andhra movement. Imposition of President's rule. 6-point formula by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. End of separate Andhra agitation. Development in Telangana is phenomenal. Development in Telangana, compared to that in Marathi and Kannada districts of the erstwhile Hyderabad state, which merged with neighbouring states in 1956, has been phenomenal. The per capita income in Telangana during the past few years is higher than in the rest of the state. Source: Directorate of Economics and Statistics. In 1956, the erstwhile Hyderabad state was trifurcated, with 8 Telugu-speaking districts being merged into Andhra Pradesh, 5 Marathi-speaking districts into Maharashtra, and 3 Kannada-speaking districts into Karnataka. After 50 years, in 2006-2007, the per capita income in 5 Telangana districts is far higher than average of the state. In the other states, the per capita income in 8 districts which merged with them is far lower than their respective state averages. Average annual growth rate in gross district domestic product from 1994 to 2007. For a long period of 13 years, the annual growth rate in only 2 Telangana districts was less than the state average. The annual growth rate was less than the state average in 10 coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema districts. This clearly indicates that development in Telangana area is much more than in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Transformation of rural Telangana. Telangana area has witnessed a total transformation in the last 5 decades. A number of factors have contributed to affluence in general and in the agricultural sector in particular. Telangana farmers are now competing with the best in the country in reaping golden harvests by adopting modern technologies and agricultural practices. Geographical area and population. The total geographical area of Andhra Pradesh is 2,75 lakh hectares. The total population of Andhra Pradesh, as projected in 2008, is 8,41 lakhs. Telangana, spread over 1,14 lakh hectares, constitutes 41.7% of the total area. Telangana, with a population of 3,51 lakhs, accounts for 41.6% of the state's population. Land utilization. 46.4% of the total area is sown in Telangana, against 53.37% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Agricultural implements. As per 2007-2008 data, 67% of total agricultural implements in the state are deployed in Telangana itself. Production of food grains. In 2007-2008, Telangana produced 81 lakh tons of food grains, accounting for 41% of the total output in Andhra Pradesh. Growth in paddy cultivated area. The growth in paddy cultivated area in Telangana is 88%, while it is only 32% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Growth in rice production. The growth in rice production during the last 50 years in Telangana is a staggering 700%, against only 191% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Growth in maize production. Maize production in Telangana area is an astounding 23.4 lakh tons. It constitutes 75.7% of the total maize output in Andhra Pradesh. Growth in pulse production. The growth in pulse production during the last 50 years in Telangana is 243% against 207% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Growth in oilseed production. The growth in oilseed production in Telangana is only 20.9% against 79.1% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Growth in cotton cultivation. The growth in area under cotton in Telangana is 596% against a mere 5% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Growth in cotton production. In 2005-2006, cotton production in Telangana area was a staggering 2.4 lakh tons. During the last 50 years, cotton production in Telangana has gone up by 50 times. Growth in sugarcane area. During the last 50 years, the growth in sugarcane area in the rest of Andhra Pradesh is 266%, while it is only 139% in Telangana. Growth in sugarcane production. The growth in sugarcane production in Telangana area is 225%, while it is 262% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Livestock. 47% of the total livestock in Andhra Pradesh is in Telangana. Milk production. Poultry. Egg production. Irrigation sector is forging ahead. As rivers Godavari and Krishna are in deep valleys in the Telangana region, they do not flow to the fields on gravitation. While coastal Andhra districts are located at 100 feet above the mean sea level, Telangana and Rayalaseema districts are at an elevation of more than 1,000 feet. Hence, the river water can't be easily harnessed for irrigation. The real solution, therefore, lies in water and soil conservation, construction of small projects in the catchment area, preventing water runoff into rivers and in turn into the sea. Instead, governments are providing lift irrigation and free power to tube wells. Anyhow, farmers are experimenting with all kinds of crops and especially with cash crops. The production of cotton in Telangana area is the highest in South India. Paddy productivity in Telangana is higher than in most of the states in India. Telangana has become the granary of the Deccan. Altitude of districts in Andhra Pradesh. Coastal Andhra districts are located at 100 feet above the mean sea level. Telangana and Rayalaseema districts are at an elevation of more than 1,000 feet. Gross irrigated area. The growth of gross irrigated area during the last 50 years in Telangana is 140%, while it is 38% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Net irrigated area. The growth in net irrigated area during the last 50 years in Telangana is 142%, while it is 46% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Tank irrigation. Tank irrigation has gone down in the entire state, more so in Telangana area. Well irrigation. In 50 years, well irrigation has grown 10 times from 3 lakh acres to 30 lakh acres in Telangana. In the rest of Andhra Pradesh, it has grown 4 times. Lift irrigation. In 50 years, lift irrigation in Telangana area has grown to 1.5 lakh acres from 50,000 acres. In the rest of Andhra Pradesh, it has grown from 1,63,000 acres to 2,78,000 acres. Number of pump sets. In Telangana area, 15.66 lakh pump sets are in use. They constitute 57% of the total pump sets in Andhra Pradesh. Water allocation by Bachavat Committee. The Bachavat Commission allocated 100 TMC to Telangana area from the Nagarjuna Sagar project. The average actual usage since 20 years has been 160 TMC. Telangana made great strides in education and health sectors. Just 6 decades back, there was only 1 English medium high school and less than 500 Telugu medium schools in Nizam's Telangana. Now, Telangana has made great strides in both education and health sectors. It attracts students and patients from all over the country. In Andhra Pradesh, Telangana area is progressing most aggressively in all vital sectors. Literacy rate. The literacy rate in Telangana has grown from 5% to 57% in 50 years, while it has grown from 14% to 62% in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. Growth in primary education. In 1956, there were less than 1,000 Telugu medium primary and upper primary schools in Telangana, and now they have grown to 32,000. In the rest of Andhra Pradesh, the number of primary and upper primary schools went up from 21,000 to 47,000. Growth in number of high schools. During the last 50 years, the number of high schools in Telangana went up from 101 to 8,579. While in the rest of Andhra Pradesh, they went up from 618 to 7,616. Number of engineering colleges. Number of medical colleges. Number of pharmacy colleges. Number of professional colleges. Power sector promotes development. The high per capita consumption of power speaks volumes about the development in Telangana districts. Throughout the world, it is taken as an important indicator of development. In industrial, household and agricultural consumption of electricity, Telangana districts are far ahead of other districts in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Capacities of power generation. 46% of total installed power capacity is located in Telangana. Number of power substations. There are 1,540, 48.6% of the total power substations in Telangana area. Distribution transformers. Per capita power consumption. Per capita power consumption in Telangana area is 777 units, while it is 645 units in the rest of Andhra Pradesh. District-wise per capita power consumption. The per capita consumption of electricity in Andhra Pradesh is 703 units. In all districts of coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema, the average per capita consumption is much lower than the state average. Agricultural power consumption, industrial power consumption, domestic power consumption, number of televisions, number of two-wheelers, number of four-wheelers, growth in factories, growth in industrial employment. Why such a large-scale agitation? Who indeed are behind this Telangana agitation? When the amazing progress of most backward region Telangana within 5 decades is more than obvious, why is there a demand for a separate state Telangana? Who indeed are behind this agitation? An understanding of the dynamics of parochialism enables us to make sense of the present political situation in Andhra Pradesh. Frenzy of parochialism. History has time and again told us that parochialism is a last resort of desperate politicians to remain in currency. When they fall from the grace of their leader or party, or when their political base is under threat, they espouse parochialism and incite base instincts of a population and show them as virtuous causes to die for. Following are some of the slogans that come handy for them. We have lost our distinct identity. Our unique culture is getting eroded. Our jobs are being usurped. Our region is being exploited. We are denied a legitimate share of our own natural resources. People from other regions are bossing over us. We are denied an opportunity to rule over ourselves. We remain backward because of others' exploitation. Our self-respect is at stake. Politicians of other regions are causing us immense difficulties. Politicians who mastered this art and science of parochialism in Telangana are behind this Telangana agitation. Testing ground of parochialism. Dr. Marri Channareddy had to bow out of power for 6 years as his election in 1968 was set aside by the courts. He spearheaded Telangana movement in 1969 by whipping up people's raw emotions. After 1971, he merged his Telangana Praja Samiti with the Congress party. Later, there were many attempts to revive the separatist agitation in the Telangana region. B. Satyanarayana Reddy founded the Nava Telangana Praja Samiti and contested all the seats in the Telangana region during the 1972 assembly elections. He ended up winning just 2 assembly seats. Konda Lakshman Babuji floated the Telangana Congress and contested elections, but lost deposits everywhere. P. Indra Reddy formed a small outfit for separate Telangana, but it could not catch the attention of people. Likewise, even K. Jana Reddy also raised the Telangana slogan for a few months, but elicited only a dismal response. Telangana's slogan after 3 decades. In the 1994 assembly elections, the ruling Congress party could get only 26 assembly seats and the Telugu Desam party came to power. Later, there was a split in the Telugu Desam party and a breakaway group of the Telugu Desam elected Chandrababu Naidu as Chief Minister. During the 1999 assembly elections, Dr. Y.S. Rajashekhara Reddy, President of the State Congress, tried valiantly to bring the party back to power, but in vain. With the TDP coming back to power, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu became Chief Minister once again. With TDP support, the BJP could form the government in Delhi. K. Chandrasekhar Rao fell out with Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu as he was not included in the cabinet. Instead, another Velamma and a former CBI chief Vijayarama Rao was favoured by Naidu. In 2001, Chandrasekhar Rao resigned from the Telugu Desam party and started the Telangana Rashtra Samiti with parochialism as its only agenda. Continuous drought conditions prevailed in the state and the popularity of Chandrababu Naidu was on the wane. The Congress was in complete disarray. During local body elections, the TRS could make noticeable gains as it captured anti-TDP vote at certain places. Decline and fall of sub-regional party. Decline in the fortunes of the parochial party. Even major political parties do not lag behind in exploiting parochialism for electoral gain. During the 2004 elections, in its bid to avoid a split in the anti-TDP vote, the Congress entered into electoral alliance with the TRS and rode to power. In its election manifesto, the Congress clearly mentioned that it would favour the constitution of a second state reorganisation committee to take up the issue of Telangana. The TRS won 26 assembly seats and joined the Congress ministry. Due to differences with TRS leadership, 10 MLAs resigned from the party. Later, in the local body elections, the TRS, which contested independently, was totally routed. Then, 16 MLAs and 5 MPs resigned their posts and challenged the Congress to face them in elections. In the ensuing by-elections, only 7 MLAs and 2 MPs could scrape through, and the rest were ignominiously defeated. During the 2009 assembly elections, the TRS entered into an electoral tie-up with the Telugu Desam party, contested 45 assembly seats, but could win only 10. Of the 9 parliament seats it contested, it won only 2. In Greater Hyderabad, all the TRS candidates who contested with the support of the Telugu Desam and both the communist parties were so badly trounced that they lost deposits too. Its chief, Chandrasekhar Rao, managed to scrape through with only 15,000 margin. The Congress party swept back to power both in the state and at the centre. Within months after elections, a major split in the TRS party saw many leaders deserting it. During the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation elections, the TRS did not dare to contest even from a single ward. Chandrasekhar Rao did not come to his own party office for weeks, reeling under the humiliating performance in the elections. Desperate and helpless leader, Mr. Chandrasekhar Rao, both desperate and helpless, announced that he would undertake a fast unto death from November 29, 2009. No one took it seriously. He started inciting people saying that Andhras are exploiters and those who are settled in Telangana should quit from this area. He resorted to all kinds of provocations. He warned that the entire Telangana would be aflame. He threatened to cut tongues and throats of those who oppose separate Telangana. When he was proceeding to undertake the fast at Siddipet, he was arrested and taken to Khammam. There he gave up his fast within 24 hours. Then, senior students gathered at Osmania University, Hyderabad, and abused him in the filthiest terms for ending the fast. There are nearly 5 lakh students in Hyderabad, but only a few hundred students from Osmania University are speaking on behalf of all students. He suddenly retracted and announced that he was still on fast. Later, he was shifted to NIMS, a multi-speciality hospital in Hyderabad. He was taking nutrients intravenously and intended to give up fast at any moment. Bifurcation of a big state made so simple. All of a sudden, Mr. Chidambaram, Union Home Minister, announced on the midnight of December 9, 2009, that the Government of India would initiate the process of formation of Telangana state. There was no SRC or any other committee or any consensus as promised by the Congress earlier. Mr. Chidambaram's statement shocked even the votaries of Telangana. In fact, it was a windfall for the agitators. They were prepared to settle for much less, say an invitation to Delhi for talks. The Chidambaram statement created a strong reaction in coastal Andhra and Rayalaseema at once, and the Home Minister had to make another statement within a fortnight to the effect that the Government of India will consult all stakeholders before taking any major decision. The Home Minister's statement created violent reaction in Telangana. Gullible people were told by these parochial leaders that separate statehood given by the Home Minister was snatched away from them by the Andhra lobby. Sensing the furious mood of the people, all political leaders in Telangana started demanding separate statehood and abusing and threatening Andhra leaders. There started a competition in exhibition of militancy. Now let us recollect the speech of Mrs. Indira Gandhi given on the floor of Lok Sabha on 21st December 1972. No drastic or irreversible decisions. Separation is not an end of the problem, beginning of another very big problem. Each state has had a long cultural and historical tradition. Each state has become a political entity in its own special way. Government can't be swept away by feelings. Merely because an area is comparatively backward is not reason enough for taking drastic or irreversible decisions. Where will this process end? But where does anyone draw the line? Will each district want to be separate? Do you go back to the old, very small states, princely states? Do you go back to that? You cannot just say that because of backwardness there should be division. In fact, as I said on an earlier occasion, merely talking of separation is not an end of the problem. It is the beginning of another very big problem, not for other states, but also for that area, that state itself. I stand very firmly for an integrated state. Thinking that just because you are separated, you can get rid of these people or we have got rid of this problem is a very facile way of thinking. Our experience has not shown that this comes true. A third point was that Telangana is not the only backward area in the state. The very first article of our constitution declares that India is a union of states. Each state has had a long cultural and historical tradition, and each state has become a political entity in its own special way. Andhra Pradesh has been a distinctive cultural unit for thousands of years. The name has been found in the earliest Buddhist writings. All the parts which now constitute Andhra Pradesh have been under one umbrella for long periods of history. Let us not look at just the immediate period of history. There are some things which are part of our national life. It is true that the question of linguistic states was very much a part of the national movement. There was no getting away from it. The units of every party which was in existence at a time were formed on the basis of language, in spite of the British provinces having different areas. There is an overall rationality in the formation of our various states, and we should be very careful not to break this foundation of rationality in momentary passions. As I said at the beginning, we should consider the feelings of people, but it would be very wrong for the government to be swept away by feelings. Thank you.